Just make sure, and the first thing that I'm doing before this challenge starts is just unplugging all plugs. The only thing is to turn the electricity off now. Once it's off, that's it. Challenge has started. 24 hours without electricity and completely off the grid. No using mains water supply, no mains gas, everything. Completely self-sustaining. Alright guys, so the challenge started about 17:40. 8 hours of the challenge I'm going to be asleep, so nothing to show you on that. I'll take you through things as I'm doing it, and then I'm showing you how I'm doing it off grid. For my previous light out challenge, which I'll leave a link to in the description below and in the cards, I was using this to provide my lighting, and in there you can see the Loftech torch that I was using, and it's basically the one at 650 cell is recharging, and that's a big benefit to have not only a solar power system of any size. I mean, it doesn't matter. This is just the Goal Zero Nomad 7, pretty much the smallest one they do, you know. So that's the first thing, guys. Just having this system here is just one thing, guys. If you are not even into preparedness, you know, this is just a cool gadget to have, you know, and it can give you some comfort. There is comfort in light, and obviously using torches, they're a lot safer than using candles. And with a good efficient torch, you know, they can give you the comfort and the light that you need for practically any duration of time. I was on a bike ride this morning, 36 miles, and obviously now the grid's down. I've got some perishables which I need to consume, some bread, and I bought some pickled beetroot slices. You can see the condensation because the fridge has gone out. Obviously I've opened them and then I've refrigerated them, but obviously now the fridge is down, I've got to consume them, or at least I'm going to consume them anyways. For one thing, I'm hungry. Beetroot's a really good thing for cyclists, by the way. It you know, those short bursts when you're going up hills or anything like that, you know, those things when you can really feel the burn in your leg, get yourself some beetroot, and you know, it just really helps with you being able to power through those moments. So obviously I'm just going to make myself a sliced beetroot sarnie, basically. I mean, I know it's not the usual typical thing I have, but you know, this has got to be used. So alright guys, so we're just over 40 minutes into the challenge now. I had the beetroot sandwich. It was actually much nicer than what I thought it would be. But I can give you an example now of why being prepared, and why even in these simulated off-grid situations you're gonna forget things. And what I've forgotten was communications. Now obviously in a grid down situation, your normal lines of communication, television, any electrical outlet only, radios, and of course internet and computers, that's all going to be gone. You're not going to have it. And the one thing that I should set up straight away when starting the challenge was I should have set up my communications. Now communications can be one way. You may be assigned to just relaying information. You may just be gathering information, such as listening. So it's very important that you get yourself a off-grid radio system. This one can be charged by solar. It can be charged by DC in. So my Loftech, for example, can charge this. It also has a torch. So it's a multifunctional item, but its purpose at the minute is just to open it onto a radio station and listen out for anything which could be important, specifically to national mainly. So I'm tuned to a national station, which is Classic FM. Now the reason I'm tuned to Classic FM is it doesn't have an overabundance of talking, but it is a national radio station. So if there was any sort of national emergency that was going to happen, then I'm sure that they would interrupt the normal service and that they would give intel on what they have so far. Once I've gathered and listened to information on a national level, I can see what's happening. I'll get a general idea of the locale of where the emergency is happening. If it's happening in a local area to me, I'll then tune to a local station, which will presumably give more accurate intelligence for what's happening, where exactly, you know, is it happening in a location that I have to go through to get it to my bug out location, for example, or is it in a location where there's going to be something that's going to affect me indirectly, such as chemical spills or anything like that. Obviously you've just got static on there at the minute. I will tune to the station once I cut this clip off. I don't want to get any copyright malarkey happening on this video. Obviously, as it is a solar powered system, what I'll do is I'll turn the radio on. I'll put it at a decent volume, not too loud, not too quiet, just so it can be heard within the main room where it's located. Obviously, you know, I don't want to be pumping out too loud because that's part of operational security. Any windows that it's near, obviously because you're trying to recharge it from the sun, it's going to be near a window, so any window that I put it near will be closed. And obviously I've got the privacy net, so the actual radio shouldn't be seen too well. Right, it's 1 hour 15 minutes into the challenge and I'm going to make my first cup of tea. I'm having some China Sancha green tea. Alright, so it's 20 to 10 PM in the evening, Saturday night. This is the only night part of the challenge which I've got over a 24-hour period. So we're coming up to 4 hours of the challenge gone. We're going to be at least 8 hours asleep. So we'll have 12 hours left of the challenge to go through tomorrow. We've got some new challenges obviously coming up. Preparing some food. I wasn't that hungry tonight, so I didn't prepare anything. Obviously earlier on I had the sandwiches, but that doesn't take any sort of preparation or any sort of fuel to do. So one thing you notice when the grid's down is how quiet it is. So I was listening to some tunes on the iPod there. The light, which is at the minute coming from at the minute, is from my TH10. Basically just bouncing it off the ceiling. Just got to point it straight up, so wherever I walk, every room's illuminated, you know, just as if it's got a light bulb in it. So anyways, I'm going to go to bed now, guys. Have an early night. Obviously I went for a bike ride earlier this morning. It's pretty much wiped us out. So good night, guys. See you tomorrow for some new challenges and some new aspects of bugging in whilst off-grid. Sunday morning, we've got just over 9 hours of the challenge left. Got that 18650 cell from yesterday charging. Put it up first thing when I woke up. Before the challenge started, I filled up the bathtub with water here. In the morning I just check the level of the water, make sure none of it's gone down significantly. Always check that the seal on your plug is good, because we're going to be needing this water throughout the challenge. Haven't used it yet, but later on we're going to be needing it. So probably the first thing I do when I get up is brush my teeth. I know this might be a bit weird for some people because obviously you're going to drink and you're going to eat your breakfast, but it's just the first thing I do. And in here you can see a toothpaste mix that I've made myself. It's mostly sodium bicarbonate, a tiny bit of Fuller's Earth in there, and a little bit of diatomaceous earth, and it works really well. Obviously one of the conditions of the challenge was that we don't use the water from the mains. See the cold tap there is off, it's just little drips there from what's left in the pipes. On the hot tap, however, I do have water, and that's not because I'm cheating, it's because I'm lucky enough that I have a old water system, heating system in the property, and it's got a big water tank, one of the traditional old style ones. So basically I've got a full tank
of water in there. It's not hot, it's not warm or anything like that. I don't actually have the hot water on very often. So I've got a full tank in there, and that's obviously going to help me out in a stuff hits the fan or a grid down for real, because then I've got, you know, lots and lots. I'll have to work out and put on screen how many gallons it actually is, but I think roughly I've got about 35 gallons or one more full bathtub of water that's in there. And you know, obviously it's pretty safe water, so I don't need to filter it that much. If I'm going to drink it, then I'll just put it through my gravity filter, and that'll filter it enough so that it's good to drink.
The product I really recommend, guys, for stuff hits the fan, or you know, even just normal everyday use, is Pit Rock. The one on the right here is basically just a push-up stick, and it just, honestly, it lasts forever. I mean, I think I got this one at least 2 years ago. It's free of all of the rubbish chemicals that are in normal deodorants like aluminium, etc. It's just got natural products in it, so if you're using any of these, you know, you're automatically reducing the exposure to chemicals. And the other one that I use is a spray. All you need is just 2 pumps of that. So not only do they last a long time, so you get really good value. They're good in a bugging situation, and they're good for if you're bugging out, because you're going to have thing that's going to help you hygienically for a long time if you get these products. So I can highly recommend them, guys. Well worth getting.
So in a grid down stuff hits the fan situation, it's a good idea to maintain your normal routine as best you can. Obviously, how you do your routine is going to change. You're going to be doing extra things. You're definitely going to be more physical. That's one thing I've noticed already doing this challenge, is that I'm doing more physical things to cope with losing the grid, which offers a way of taking away physical labour from you. You know, I've just had to manually fill my toilet reservoir, and I don't normally have to do that. So the next part of my morning routine, what I normally do is I have a drink of apple cider vinegar. This is just for general health, upkeep, maintenance of my body, but apple cider vinegar is very good for skin problems, and it's very good for joint problems with your joints. So what I do is I just put 2 tablespoons of this into a glass. This is a 1 pint glass. In the copper jug here we have distilled water. I made sure that I did water distilled before the challenge happened, and then what I do is I just fill up the pint glass almost to full with distilled water. And there we have it. You know, it's quite diluted. I just have it, the raw apple cider vinegar in the glass with distilled water. Some people like to add other things in there, honey. If you have other allergies such as hay fever, then I would suggest that you put locally produced honey and locally sourced, and you know, just get it from an independent shop. So in preparation of flushing the loo, which I'm going to be doing soon, just have to undo and take off the top here where the reservoir of water is that flushes the loo. So just undo it here, just with a coin. Make sure you have coins lying around, guys. They're useful for many things. So there's inside the loo. First time I'm going to flush it since the challenge started. 2 things to remember, which will help you conserve water in a grid down. If it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down. So just about to do the flush. You can see that there's some water there coming in. Maybe I haven't tightened off the cord top enough yet. I'll go and tighten it. Well, that's definitely stopped it down to dripping now. And remember, you know, in the grid down stuff, it's the fan. The flow might not actually stop completely. You may get a very, very limited, reduced flow for, you know, hours, even days. Obviously, during this time, be very, very, very mindful of the quality of the water. Now, for flushing a loo, that doesn't really matter, but obviously for drinking and other considerations like bathing, then you do need to take this into consideration. It seems to be going down to a drip now, so I'm going to fill up the water in here with water from the bath. Water's just gone everywhere. Well, I think I need a better system to fill it up with because that water just went everywhere. I need to get a hose or something and just siphon it in there from the hot tap probably. It's just gone all over the place. Better do a clean up. Radio is getting some sun now. We're getting a good charge on the battery. Obviously it was switched off whilst sleeping, but it's on again during the daytime, just in case we get any news about any situations going on which would need our attention.
Right guys, so there's a little over 3 hours left of the challenge. I'm kind of just winding down on the challenge now. I'm not really going to conduct in anything, especially, you know, that's going to be made difficult by being off grid. So I'm just going to go through like a summary of things, and I'm just going to talk about, you know, what I've learned. So first thing is the iPod Touch itself. Make sure you have a good source of timekeeping on you. Make sure that you can charge all of the devices off grid that you're going to make use of. Now, I use the iPod Touch to keep a track of the time for the 24 hours of the challenge, but I also used it as my music player. Now obviously, if you're going to use something like an iPod Touch or an iPhone for this purpose, make sure that you turn off all the Bluetooth, all the Wi-Fi, make sure that you close down all the apps, shut it down or restart it, just so that no apps are going to get loaded into memory. Make sure that you're only going to be using the apps that you're going to definitely be using, and this will just extend the battery life. Another great thing to do is make sure that you get an app that trains you how to recharge and sustain the battery that's in these devices. There's lots of free apps out there, you know, I'm not going to name one, but make sure that you recharge the devices that you have, not just this, I'm talking about any device and any batteries that you do have. Make sure that you're charging them using the best profile that you can, using the best battery charger that you can, and this will really, really extend the life of your devices that you use. The ThruNite TH10 was another piece of equipment which has done me well through previous challenges and through this one included. Some of the shots that you saw were entirely lit just with the TH10. It's an absolute outstanding torch. It's a total beast. It's really, really tough, and it's obviously waterproof, and you know, I think it's like to a depth of like 1.5 meters or something, so it's IPX rated. It's very comfortable on your head, and you know, it leaves your hands free to do other things. If there's one torch in a bugging situation that I would recommend, it would just be this thing. But again, make sure that you get a good battery charger for the 18650 cells. Another piece of equipment that you're going to want to have is a mobile phone in emergencies. And again, make sure that you can charge it off grid. Make sure that when people can communicate to you, just to say like the grid goes down completely, you're going to want to switch on your mobile phone, and ideally have had a plan beforehand where at specific times throughout the day you and your family are going to turn on the mobile phones. Now you're going to want to put a gap between the people that you've told, obviously, because what you don't want to happen is everyone turning on their mobile phones on the hour, every hour, or else you're just going to get a total influx of messages. And you know, some of those messages might mean that you need to do things, and obviously that will take time to do it. So stop and stage the communications with your party members, with your relatives. So you might want to say to your mum and dad, closest relatives, on the hour I'll contact you, or I'll try to attempt to contact you. Friends, other people that you've agreed to contact, you know, just stage them throughout the hour. So 10 minutes past the hour, 20 minutes past the hour, you know, half past the hour. Tell those people that that's the time that you're going to attempt to contact them, and they're going to attempt to contact you. Another excellent piece of kit for when the grid goes down is a communications device, and it could be anything. It could be something that you receive communications through. It could be something that you can communicate to other people with. Just make sure that it's got a headphone socket so that you can maintain some sort of operational security in regards to the amount of noise that you're going to make, and regards to the amount of noise that this device can make. I had it on Classic FM, which is a no-nonsense radio station really. You know, it's pretty minimalist. They just play music. They have a news section, I think at least once every hour or something. National news, so if there was any sort of emergency going on, then at least I would know about it. So talking about water next, the other items that worked really well for me and have done in the past is the Bango. I just put a Gellet stand, the can goes on the Gellet stand there. It just helps to make it more secure. And I bought this, it's basically just a camping kettle, and it was just a cheapy thing from Wilkinson's, the canisters from Wilkinson's. I bought the Van Gogh off Amazon and the Gellet stand off Amazon. Obviously you'll want to have a few of these on site, and as I was doing, just make a tally. So obviously when the grid's down, you know, things like your taps, they're not going to work. Like I mentioned though, I'm on an old style water tanker, so there is about 120 litres of water in it, I think. So, you know, I do have running water, but it's only what was stored in the storage tank. Another thing that went well was filling up the bathtub. If the grid does go down, just be sure to fill up your bathtub as quickly as possible whilst there's still pressure there to do it. This will give you a lot of water to work with, whether it's for hygiene purposes or for drinking. If you do put it into your bathtub though, directly, just make sure that you can filter and purify it, because obviously there's chemicals that you may have used to clean your bathtub. Those are all going to come off and leach into the water whilst it's in there. So when you put water into a bathtub, you know, don't use it as your drinking supply, or if you do, make sure that you can filter and purify it. Probably the biggest problem I had during this grid down simulation was filling up the toilet tank here. What I do have, and which I never used, is a simple pump, and I'm going to try that next time on the next grid down simulation. Obviously I'm on an older style where I have a water tank. If I had to, I could put something up from the hot water tap and then feed it into the tank here, but again, you know, that would only last for so long. So a backup to your normal internal toilet system would be ideal, and especially if the grid's going down for more than 3 days, you're definitely going to need a backup, that's for sure. Right guys, that's it. 24 hours off grid completed. As with all of these things, you learn a lot. I would encourage experienced preppers, people new to prepping, just to do an off-grid challenge, because I guarantee whether you're new or old to prepping, you're going to learn something and you're going to see holes in your preps. You're going to find out things about yourself and your preps that need to be fixed. It was an awesome challenge, thanks to Armed Rogue, care of Prepper Potpourri. Good challenge, thumbs up. And like I said, well worth doing, and this challenge was actually the first challenge I did where I was completely off grid. I've done various things before on my channel where I've gone without lights for a full week, and you know, I've done other things for like a day partially off grid, but this was the first time where I went completely off grid, and that includes shutting off the water, which was something new, which was added to the mix on this one. I hope that something in my videos, both in the preparation video, which is up prior to this one, and in this actual challenge video, I hope there's been something in there that you've found useful. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone who watches, and I appreciate all my subscribers. You guys are awesome, and the only final thing to say really is to be safe and be prepared.